Hi, everyone, and welcome to Me, You, and Who. Today's episode is extra special because we're bringing you a story that's rarely told. You may remember Amy, who previously shared her journey of growing her family through egg donation. Well, she's back, but this time she's joined by Rachel, her incredible egg donor. What started as a donor-recipient connection has blossomed into something much deeper, a heartfelt and unexpected bond that has changed both their lives. Together, Amy and Rachel open up about their journey, the emotions, the surprises, and the joy of sharing motherhood in a way neither of them imagined. This is a conversation about gratitude, connection, and the incredible ways love and family take shape. You won't want to miss it. Me, you, and who? Who knew it would take more than two people to have a baby? In a world where infertility is no longer a taboo topic, this podcast will take you through all of the different aspects of surrogacy and egg donation through the lens of many who walk this journey in different ways. My name is Whitney Hall, and I am a two-time surrogate, now turned surrogacy coordinator for Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, the very agency I used when I chose to carry for two amazing families. With this podcast, it is our goal to help guide and support you as you learn about what it takes to grow a family in an alternative way, as well as hear inspiring and beautiful stories of how this path has changed lives forever. We can't wait for you to hear about just one more way happy families are created every day. Okay, well, you guys, I really am just so excited that I get to just talk with you guys and about just this special bond that you have. And Amy, I'm super excited that you agreed to come back on and kind of share your story from this perspective. Because again, for our listeners, Amy and Tim were on and shared their story last season. So definitely go check that one out because it's beautiful. And since then, we've had some fun developments in your world. But before we get started, Rachel, okay, first of all, why don't you guys go ahead and say your names so that for our listeners who are not watching, they know whose voice goes with who.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm Rachel.
Yay! Okay. So, what is so fun and unique is Amy, you are intended mom to Esther and now Edgar. And Rachel, you are Amy's egg donor, which is just amazing. But before we even go down there, Rachel, just to you, how did egg donation even come into your world? How did this become a thing for you?
So actually, I love everything reproductive medicine, as most people in my world know. Started with surrogacy in 2017. I carried for an amazing couple, and they are family through and through. And so I was just kind of opened up to the egg donation world because of that, and all things third party reproduction. So it kind of just piqued my interest because of the ability to, I guess, just to continue to help in that aspect. Surrogacy, I didn't think that I was going to pursue any more journeys. I thought that chapter was kind of closed. And so I just kind of wanted to help in any other way, which led me to egg donation. And I just kind of started doing some research and asking some questions and, asking all of the employees at what was Egg Donor Solutions and then Surrogate Solutions at the time. And they just gave me some really great insight and put me in contact with some experienced people who really just kind of answer my questions for me and made me realize that I had to do it. It was not an if or a when. I was like, I want to just help in that sense. I saw the fruition of what became from an egg donation, and it just made my heart swell and made me really want to be able to do the same thing. So I just saw how many lives were changed in such an amazing way because of egg donation. So
Right.
Just
It wasn't a maybe. It was a no, this is going to happen. Like, we're going
yeah,
to make
yeah,
this happen. Yeah,
yeah,
for
absolutely,
sure. For
absolutely.
sure. Well, so both of you, whenever you both were, Rachel, when you decided you were going to become an egg donor, and then Amy, whenever you and Tim decided to grow your family in this way, this was prior to what is now, what we call our known donor cycle, which, for those who don't know, there's the known donor cycle where you guys do exchange names and contact information. And then there's the unidentified cycle where you don't know names, you don't have contact information, all of that. And we say unidentified, we don't say anonymous, because there's no such thing as anonymity anymore. But when you guys were first pursuing this, what were kind of your, I guess, Amy, to you, what was kind of your feeling around this idea of, like, this is going to be unidentified, we're not going to know this person. And then kind of to you, Rachel, same thing. Like, I'm just so excited. Like, there's this family, they're going to be out there, not going to know their names, but like, that's just kind of how this is. What was kind of your feelings around that in general?
Well, when I was looking for an egg donor, that was one of my requirements, is I wanted somebody who was open to contact later or currently or whatever. So that was one of my requirements when I was looking for an egg donor, is that they had to be like open to communication. Mm-hmm. So just from the get-go, I knew that was something I wanted. I did not want it to be anonymous. I did not want to, I didn't want that for me. I didn't want that for my kids. And I didn't want that for the donor either.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Rachel? How was that, like, whenever you were deciding that you were either going to be open to that or not? What was that kind of like?
So initially, I think that as an egg donor, you're going to have reservations because you're thinking, okay, I'm doing this, but what's going to happen 18 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? There's going to be an interest. And I think that it's silly to think that, like you said, there's no such thing as anonymous. With technology, it's going to happen. So to be the one that's open to that and kind of initiates that communication was more important to me than having something happen where, 18 years down the road, this child created in this situation is curious, as they will be. Sure. And that being put on them as a weight, as opposed to it just being open communication from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think it was just really important to just like kind of pave that way so that the communication was open. There was always a possibility and the openness to the reach out. So that's just something that was important to me. I didn't want it to feel like on the recipient end that there was like pressure or questions that they didn't have access to or anything like that, that it was just totally open from the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. Now, originally, Amy, the idea was we were going to be open later. What was kind of like, what was later to you?
Well, I honestly wanted to like know everything right away. Like, if you don't, because I think initially, I think the trend was like at 18 you could communicate. Mm-hmm. But I remember talking to Callie and stuff, and when we were talking about the legal stuff that like a lot of people put in their contracts, that you will both be in the donor sibling registry.
Right.
Which means you can start talking whenever you want. So I could reach out right away and then just kind of hang out there and wait for the donor to respond when she was ready, which is kind of what I wanted to do. Like, I'm here. Hi, I'm ready whenever you want to talk. And that's what I did. And it was like right away. Through my whole pregnancy, Rachel and I were talking.
Yeah. So the donor sibling registry, like that happened not during the cycle. That was like the egg donation cycle. This was after. Right. But you, Amy, you had said you were like you wanted to know her like during it. Like you were like, hey, let's meet. Like or no, maybe not necessarily meet, but like let's chat. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Rachel, what was that kind of like to you? To all of it, like you had just gone through the cycle. And we know that it was a successful cycle, which is lovely. What was that like whenever you first got that message? Like, hi, I'm here.
So I'll actually back up because that wasn't the first time we communicated.
That's true.
That's right. Yes.
We communicated throughout the cycle. So we were kind of giving little updates and totally bugging the crap out of Callie, who
you guys were communicating with each other through Callie. You did, you did it
through love letters, through the clinic, cards.
Oh
So
my gosh.
So
yeah,
we
so
were
we were
getting
just
tidbits and like little bits of information about like, like the clinic was always raving about like how wonderful a donor Rachel was. And like, so I was getting all these like bits of information from like the clinic and from like Callie about Rachel. And like, so the more I was learning, the more I was like, oh my God, I have got to know this woman. Like I want to know this amazing woman. And it just kind of worked out really well.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So when was that, like, when did you guys actually exchange, like, you guys had your own connection, like, spoke to each other without somebody in between? When did that happen?
It was with the donor sibling registry after the
Okay.
cycle happened.
Yeah.
That was kind of what initiated the communication, and since then it has evolved to email, so it's a little bit more personal, and we have the ability to have that access to communication a little. It's just a little bit easier than going through the donor sibling registry. But I am too much, and
Stop. No.
I would communicate with Callie and ask her like, "Hey, what's her transfer date? I want to know her transfer date so that I can put that on my calendar and just know and reach out to her that day and all of the crazy
And I
things
have
that
to say, like, I have to say that I'm a little much too, and I might get emotional, so I have my tissue over here just in case. Because sometimes just thinking about like meeting you and like what I want to say, I get emotional. But as far as like you wanting to know when my transfer date was and like sending me a message like that, like was so special to me because I was like awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was so nervous. I was so stressed out. I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening. What if it doesn't work? What if it does work? Oh my gosh.
Sure.
And I like rolled over and looked at my phone and there was this like beautiful like text message that Callie must have sent that was from Rachel. And it was like reassuring words, you're going to do great. And I immediately, like, I'm not kidding, like, I'm not exaggerating, like, I immediately, like, felt completely at ease, and I was like, it is going to be okay. Like, it doesn't matter how this turns out, everything is going to be fine. And I honestly would not have felt that way if I wouldn't have gotten that personal message from her. Like, it really just, like, full circle, everything was just like, it's going to be okay. And it was.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. Did you ever imagine whenever, like, back at day one, that this was ever like that your journey, y'all's relationship would end up like this? I mean, I know Amy, you were just kind of thinking like maybe the
I
medical
always
record
wished
side and
it.
like
I was,
yeah.
the moment we decided to go with an egg donor, I always wished and hoped for some type of relationship for me and the children, like at least an ease of communication back and forth, like a happy birthday here or there or whatever, just so like at any point if I or the kids or even the donor wanted to reach out, that was open.
As an intended parent, why was that so important to you?
One, I'm a curious person. Two, why was it so important? I just feel like this whole process is very well. It's very the whole process is very special. It's a very unique situation, and I knew one of the main reasons was for my children. I want my
Yeah.
children to have full access to all the knowledge and information of their creation story, like everything. And a huge part of that is Rachel. None of this would be a thing if it wasn't for Rachel. And so it's important for me to be able to, for them to know that and know who she is and know what she's about and know that she's the reason why they're here. Like all my
Mm.
dreams came true because a nice lady named Rachel
oh god.
decided to help mommy and daddy make a baby, and she donated her eggs. Like we have a family, I'm a mother, like she literally gave me the gift of life. And so that's why it was so important to me. One, because I wanted to express my gratitude. And I also wanted whoever the donor was, I think they're giving a big part of themselves up. And I think it's only fair that if they are curious or want to know or see pictures or send a happy birthday, I think that's important that they're able to do that as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, it's so, I mean, I love that you're kind of bringing up the emotional and relational part of it because, I mean, I think a lot of people, like when you think about it, I know for me, whenever I was first, learning more about the difference between known and, unidentified, the big thing that I feel like a lot of people talk about and focus on is, just the medical record side of things, which is logistical and very appropriate, and that makes complete and total sense. But I love what you're saying, Amy, about, just Esther and Edgar knowing their creation story, but
Yeah, mine
then
was definitely a lot more emotional than it was medical, for sure. And going
yeah.
back to your question about like when did I like realize or know that I wanted to like have it like an open relationship and communicate with Rachel, one of I remember it very vividly is I had initially called after our second, so we did 3 rounds of IVF.
Mm-hmm.
And after our second round of IVF, I was like, whatever, I'm picking a donor. And so I was starting to look, so I have to have everything planned out. I have to know everything's okay. So I was like, if I have a donor picked out that I like, the third cycle doesn't work, whatever, no big deal.
Right.
So I just kind of had that feeling like this was the route that my infertility journey was going to take. And so I had reached out to Egg Donor Solutions, and I was like, hey, I like this girl. Is she still available? Is she willing to travel? We're still going to do another round, but I just want to know if she's available and she's willing to travel. And so they reached out and they said yes. And then the day that I got the call, I think it was like actually Halloween. I got the call that the third cycle didn't produce any viable embryos.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, bye, click. And I called like Egg Donor anyway. And I was like, is she still available? And I was sitting on the front porch, and I might have been Callie who I was talking. I don't know who I was talking to. I don't think I had Callie yet. And they had said, well, somebody actually just reached out to inquire about her. And my heart just sunk. I was like, and like my eyes immediately began to tear up, and I was like, no. And she goes, but they didn't put a hold on her. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. And so I was like, do it. Reach back out to her. And then the reply back was later is that they said that Rachel had said that when they contacted her that she had been thinking about me and wondering how the third round of IVF went. And then at that moment, I was like, yeah, I want to have some type of relationship with her.
Because the truth was, I asked Callie because I'm like, I don't want her to need me. Like, I already just felt, I don't know, there's just like a heartfelt connection to Amy, like from the beginning. I don't know what it was. Obviously, now I know what it was. It was all meant to be. It's meant to bring us here to this point and everything like that. But I felt that connection to her, and I didn't want her to need me. I wanted her to have that success and to
Sure.
to build her family how she had, plan B, because essentially I'm plan C for you guys and everything that you went through to get to me. And there was so much loss for her already and heartbreak. So, but then it was Callie, I think, at the time. And she reassured me. She's like, no, she knew that she just wanted to give it the third cycle. And if it wasn't the third cycle, it was you. And I was like, that does make me feel a little bit better that I know that, you had at least made peace with that aspect, because that's a huge part in taking on this, journey of conceiving via egg donation. It's not easy. And Amy is amazing at reminding me how loved and cherished I am by her and her family. But really, I feel that towards her in a way that it's so hard to describe, because I know that there's got to be so much trauma and heartbreak and loss of control conceiving with an egg donor. And that's not easy. And the fact that she has so gracefully made peace with that and moved on from that past trauma and is able to still like pour out her love onto me and into her children. It's
beautiful.
I just have so much love in my heart for that and everything that she's been through. So it's just not to be taken lightly. It's such a huge weight behind all of that. So sorry to ramble, but
don't
apologize. It's beautiful.
And I feel like Rachel is absolutely amazing because she selflessly like gave this part of her to me, and like, I do think about her a lot, and it's not like intrusive at all. It's like these feelings of gratitude, like, oh my God, I have this because she did this. And I feel grateful all the time. Like, I love my children so much. Like, especially Esther. Like, Edgar's still a little baby and he's getting there. But man, me and Esther are like, and she's just my world, and I just love her, and I just can't imagine her not being around. And, and Rachel was able to help me, give me that gift. And that's just mind-boggling. the selflessness and her kindness is just beyond words. Like that somebody would do that like for me so I could be happy is just, it's incredible.
Oh, you guys, this is just a love fest. I'm obsessed. Oh my gosh. But no, I mean, you both are saying it so beautifully because I mean, Rachel, I think you wholeheartedly with third party for, you know, a lot of individuals that come into third party, this was not their plan A, or even plan B. And so you're right. There is, you know, especially from the intended parent perspective, there can be so much that happens and a lot of, oh gosh, like a lot of chapters that you have to close and ways that you have to, you know, just be okay and get ready to move forward. And I think exactly to your point, you know, Amy, you've done such a, I mean, I admire how much you and Tim, you know, went through to get to this point. But then also, like you said, all of those things can exist and your love for Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, subsequently, your joy of your children from that. Like, it wouldn't be Esther if it hadn't been Rachel. And we can't imagine a world without Esther. And so, like, all of those things, those feelings can coexist at the same time. And it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. It really is. It really is. Like, I didn't realize, like, at the time, like, how special it would be. Like, I knew I wanted it to be open and I wanted everyone to know everything, but I didn't realize that it would be like this. Like, it's very soft and squishy, I guess. Like, it's just,
yes.
like, I knew, and I honestly don't think if I would have went with another donor, I would have felt like this.
Oh, interesting. What makes you say that?
Well, I mean, I still would have felt this way, but not to this degree, not to this level.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
Rachel has definitely like put the sugar on top and like has made it like extra special, where like I full-heartedly want a relationship with Rachel and I want my kids to be able to know her and be like, hey, you remember the girl that we met on the beach? That's Rachel. That's your donor. And like, today's her birthday. Do you want to send her a card or like send her a message? Like, I want that for us and I want that for her.
Yeah, no,
she
for
is
sure.
such a special and extraordinary person. Like, I don't know. I just knew, like, when I saw her little video on her profile, like, I just knew right away. I'm like, and I remember telling Tim, I'm like, that's her. And he goes, what are you talking about? I didn't even know we were going to pick a donor. And I'm like, well, I found her.
Well, I found her, so catch up.
We're all good. And he was like, okay.
Great. Awesome.
It was that instant connection. And then there was just all these other layers of like validation, like Callie saying, oh, well, she's been thinking about you and she wanted to know curious about how your third round went. And then, there was a little like, us sending cards back and forth. Like, I sent her a necklace that I think you have on. I just, and then she sent me like a little bracelet that said hope on it.
Yes, your bracelet.
Every single day. And then the day I was leaving the hospital, I got out of the shower and it broke and the beads went everywhere. And initially I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, that's like a sign. It's like meant to be. I don't need this hope anymore. Like, I've got my baby. I'm taking her home today. And so.
Ooh, chills.
Yeah.
I know. I love that story. It makes me so happy.
Like, things that just validated like how much I valued and wanted this relationship.
Yeah. No.
And pounding.
For sure. Rachel, for you, I mean, I think there's something I don't want to say it's unique because I know there are so many donors who do think about like, oh, how are, those intended parents doing? How, kind of, and a lot of times we're able to like, and by we, I mean, Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, the coordinators are kind of able to send donors some updates whenever they hear from them and things like that. But, you kind of said like right away, you were already thinking about Amy and you were already kind of hoping she didn't need you. And then you're wanting to like know more and more and more. Tell me a little bit more about that, just from that egg donor perspective and originally thinking that this was going to be unidentified and you were only going to know a minimal amount of information versus what you get to have now.
And I think that the expectation, which it has changed since the donation, I would say back then it was less identified. It was definitely, the expectation was an unidentified cycle. That was kind of the standard.
Yeah.
So initially when I, began the process for egg donation, that was kind of my expectation. I wasn't thinking that there was going to be continuous communication for years after the cycle, or if there was communication, maybe it would just be for updates of, oh, medically, is there any updates? Those kind of things that maybe the intended parents were interested in. Um, but as that progressed, I am not a, a very private person. I am an open book, and I am absolutely relational versus contractual. That is just my personality. I love
Yeah.
relationships. I love. I am just, I don't know, I'm a big love bug, and I have a lot of love to give. And I felt so grateful because the way that Amy felt that she might not have had that with a different donor, I feel the same way. That if a different set of intended parents maybe had picked me, or that I did a donation for a different set of intended parents, that could have been where that chapter closed, or, that could have been the end of that journey. And I don't know that I would have felt as fulfilled as I do now with this open relationship that I have with Amy and Tim and their beautiful children. And I think that that's something that will span probably their lives, which is, it's hard to wrap my mind around, because Rachel from, 5-6 years ago, when I was first thinking about doing egg donation, never would have guessed that I would be sitting here talking to Amy about, her feelings and her aspect on the journey, and what her children are like, and getting to get
Yeah.
the pictures and the videos. And I mean, we talk all the time, and have since since it happened. And I'm just so grateful for that, because I'm huge on relationships, and I think it's equally as important, as she feels towards her children, and just having that like open communication, and that they know where they came from, and that it's not a big secret. There was so much love and thought and hope put into creating these children, these beautiful
Sure.
children, that it's really just, it's a miracle. And I'm just thankful to be just a little smidge, a little part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, to your point, Amy, I think or to your point, Rachel, and then Amy, I just want to give you, just a ton of kudos. I mean, I love that from the get-go, you wanted to, I mean, almost celebrate
Oh yeah.
how Esther came to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I
love
mean,
bragging about our story and telling the world about it. I'm not,
yeah.
I tell everybody, like, I have patients at work when I'm pregnant. Oh, and they'll say, oh, and I'll be like, yeah, we worked hard. It's an egg donor baby. And, and they're like,
We worked hard.
and I just tell everybody, like, it's a special story. And I don't think there's no reason to like not tell the truth or feel shame about it. I mean, it took a lot of love from both sides, me and Rachel, to put this together and make this happen. And we did it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So grateful that I ended up with Rachel. Like when I think about her, I like thank my lucky stars every day that I landed on her and I picked her, because I wasn't expecting a relationship like this by any means, but I at least wanted something open. But as it built, I was like, I wanted it more and more and more. Like the more I got to know about her, you know, with each email, I was like, ooh, I want to know more. And this is so neat and so cool. And it just makes the whole experience special. And it honestly makes my family even more special, that, it wasn't just mommy and daddy's love that helped this come to be. It was your donor, Rachel's
Yeah.
generosity, that you're very special. This is a big deal. And I love the story.
Oh, I love that. No, but you're so right. You're so right. Rachel, how do you explain, or how have you explained to your kiddos? I mean, I know little baby he not
He's
quite
not
yet,
there
but
yet.
he's not there yet. Yeah. But your daughter, like, how have you kind of explained, because I know, she, like you said, you were a surrogate prior, so it wasn't, maybe foreign to her with this idea of helping another family have a baby and that connection that you have with your intended parents. But how have you kind of explained this connection to her?
So she's so mature for her age, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's really helped. And
Yeah.
maybe that is because I I was a surrogate previously and carried babies for, my amazing family members, extended family members now. Um, but I just think that because she was exposed to that so early, there was nothing there that was like shocking. It wasn't a surprise. It's not like a taboo subject or anything that
Uh-huh.
she can't really wrap her mind around. She is so, so, so mature. So she completely understood. And, she says, maybe I can do that one day, or maybe I can carry a baby one day, or
Oh.
so it's really sweet because it's like, yeah, let's do this. You're making a difference. You're seeing these little small differences being made, and she realizes that sometimes that's how you build a family. It's not
Yeah.
always how you expect or how you plan for. It takes a village, and that could mean a lot of things.
Yes, for
So,
sure. Does she ever, wrestle's not the right word, but like, does she ever maybe wonder, like, okay, well, I'm genetically related, or half genetically related to, these two little people over here. Does she ever have questions about that? Or is she just kind of
well,
like, it just is what it is?
yeah, she
I love
that's
it.
that's what she knows. So it was no there wasn't really a second thought because that is what she knows.
Yeah.
There's no concern on her end. And actually, Amy and I have kind of talked about doing things in the future with all of our families together. And so she's
Yeah.
like more babies to get to hang out with. I can't
Cool.
wait. So
I love it. I love it. I feel like I say this all the time, but I feel like kids just make it so much more simpler than we do. I was
yes.
Oh
talking
yeah.
to my kids the other day, and I said, I don't know, I said something about, like, is it weird that, like, your mom was like a surrogate? And like my eldest, she looked at me, she was like, it's weird that you're asking that question. I was like, oh, okay, my bad. Oh, no, I love that. I love that. So, okay, you guys have, how was that evolution kind of, I'm sorry, we're kind of jumping back in the timeline a little bit here, but how was that evolution whenever you guys did finally exchange emails? How has that relationship evolved from, once upon a time where, Callie's exchanging love notes for you guys? I'm envisioning like three desks, and like you're here and Callie's in the middle and like passing notes. But like, how has y'all's
Yeah.
relationship evolved? Right? How has y'all's relationship evolved from that to where it is now? Like, did it ever, I mean, it feels like it was just so natural. It was just so
It was
organic.
it was
It
super
was, it
organic. It
was.
just
And I'm
happened.
super thankful for the email because now I can, like, actually, the way that the donor sibling registry, the website is set up, I can't really share pictures that's not on like a joint for kind of everybody to see. And I'm like,
Oh,
I want to
interesting.
share more about me just privately to you so that you can know my family and, get
Yeah.
those updates and things like that. So I think that that's the email has helped in that sense. I'm like, hey, here's my family Christmas picture so that you're part of the family. So
Yeah.
I want you to have them too. So it's just been able to help kind of build on that relationship a little bit. In my opinion, that's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It makes things a little bit easier. And then, like you
Yeah.
said, it's not like every time I post pictures, because like you remember how you mentioned that you're a little too much. Well, poor Rachel, like the amount of pictures and stuff that I have sent this poor woman, I'm like, look, aren't they beautiful? I love them. Look.
I
No, that
love
just sounds like
every
every mom. That's like every mom
yes.
that's like, hold on, let me show you my pictures. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And now we're both in this newborn bubble together, which just bonds us
That's
so
the
much
other
more too.
amazing thing
It's
about our
so
story too.
special. It's so special. So we both have these baby boys now that
Mhm.
we just we're feeding off of each other in this newborn postpartum fourth trimester
I
that it
love that.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. I didn't even like make that connection. Tell me more a little bit about that.
I think you might have been one of the first people that I shared that I was pregnant with because
Oh,
yeah, so yeah, I sent her, I guess I sent her via a message on the donor sibling registry that like I was expecting and we had just found out that it was a baby boy. I'm pretty sure we had just had the anatomy scan. We just found out and we were so excited. And that's when we just were like, "Oh my gosh, wait a second. She's I don't know if you might have known that it was a boy already too, but we were due like 3 months apart almost to the day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
yes, I had sent
So,
you a message saying, "Hey, guess what? Like we did it again." I'm
yeah,
pregnant. And then I think it might have been the very next message,
you're
or
right.
after that, you were like, "Hey, guess what? I'm pregnant too,"
Me
and it
too.
was with a boy. I was
Oh
like,
my
"Oh
gosh.
my goodness!" I'm like, "This is the
Yes.
neatest thing ever that we're both
Yes.
pregnant at the same time." That was neat too. And then we,
Yes.
sent emails back and forth about like how our pregnancies were going, and oh, I'm getting
Oh
induced.
my
Like we both sent
gosh.
each other messages, I think, from the hospital saying, "It's happening. I'm getting induced."
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that is so special. I love
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh,
And
that's
the
amazing.
more we communicate and talk and share, like the more we're learning about how much we actually have in common. It's almost freakish. It's pretty neat.
Freaky.
Yeah.
I said that to Callie. I'm like, Amy is just she's like my alter ego. She's
Wow.
like the same person, just she's in a different body. She had, just a different person, but it's crazy. We have a lot in common. A lot of our life stories have overlapped in many, many ways. Our careers,
Mm,
now our children, we have the best of both worlds. She's got a sweet girl and a boy. Her daughter's the oldest. She just had a son. Same for me. Just
yeah.
little things like that that I just think are special. Little invisible strings that tie us together.
Yes, that's a very
I
good way.
love that. I love that. Well, and I think what's so fun is, kind of like what you said, Rachel, like you're both, newborn moms, fourth trimester, like commiserating together. I
Yes.
mean, it's evolved from like intended parent and donor to like we're in the thick of it together. It's, one mom to another, like, just all of that. Like I love that evolution.
That's a very good point, because now when we are talking, it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm talking to a donor. It's like I'm talking to another mom, and we're going through sleep regressions and like tongue ties and like and like like sometimes I forget that she's the donor.
Right. She's Rachel. She's
Yeah.
friend Rachel and this is friend Amy and like
Mhm.
and another mom. And yes, for
Mhm.
sure. Oh, I love that so much. And I mean, again, I think that just really highlights, I mean, there's so much beauty in egg donation in general. And then there is so much, just it's another ribbon on top whenever you do get to know the person beyond just the exchange of just egg donation, and now to get to have this opportunity, I mean, it's so special, you guys. It really, really is. And I think it just shows the beauty that and the celebration that is growing your family in this way.
Mhm.
If you, Amy, if you could give any advice, maybe what would you say to an intended parent who is maybe unsure about this idea of, a known versus unidentified cycle and just kind of being open to that type of relationship?
Oh, some advice. Definitely go in with it with an open heart.
Yeah.
Um, and just be open, and you kind of have to let the donor kind of set the pace. Like you kind of,
Okay.
I think that's important, because no matter what I want out of this relationship, it's ultimately up to Rachel. Of how of how far we take this, or how deep this goes. Like initially it was a surface relationship, and that was beautiful, but then organically it kind of slowly built on itself. So
Yeah.
I would say to anybody who is pursuing egg donation and would like an open like relationship, or to have more of an open communication, I think that's probably one of the key components, is that you have to be really respectful of your donor and what their wishes are. Like, they gave you this gift, they gave you this part of them. Let them decide the pace and the rate and how deep basically they want to go with this relationship, is what I would say. And I just got
I
lucky I
love
got Rachel,
that.
because I wanted what we have.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, absolutely. Rachel, what would you say to, just some advice or thoughts or words of wisdom to a donor who is kind of trying to wrestle with the idea of unidentified or known?
I just think, just like Amy said, have an open heart and an open mind because it could become this. If you set your expectation of, oh, hey, I'm worried that they're going to find out this little thing or that little thing, it's so silly because in the end, like we're all human, we've all lived and experienced certain life happenings and certain things
Yeah.
in life that you think are just, I don't know, maybe you don't want to share that, or they're big moments, but oh, will they not want to know that part of me? And it's just not true. I think that, things that I have shared with Amy along the way, and I'm like, we've actually bonded over, we've ended up bonding over. So I
Yeah.
think that going in with an open mind, it's so hard for me to say though, because I feel like I lucked out, and I do realize maybe it's not always going to be that way for somebody,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it could be. And I think that potential should be enough to want more, to know that, hey, you get to see you were a small piece in this family building, and to get to actually watch it be like come into fruition, and her sending me updates of her beautiful children and knowing that I was a very small part of that has really helped me to, like I said before, just it's almost extra fulfillment on my end. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
my heart is so full. Like getting to see that final outcome, that there is hope at the end, that you gave the couple hope, that you were just that little tiny piece in the puzzle that maybe they didn't have before. And you can't really have that if you're unidentified. I think that the communication kind of stops there, and maybe it's personality wise because I love that relationship building, but getting to see that continuation of, that little aspect of that little piece that you created, it just makes all the
Yeah.
difference. It's so fulfilling.
For sure. Well, it's just that cherry on top because I mean, you were even like, I mean, you seemed perfectly content to like, hey, Callie, can you please just let me know the transfer date? Like, I just want to send her good luck on transfer. And then it was like, okay, hey, I just want to, like, oh my gosh, yay, it worked. I'm so excited. And then it seemed like you were pretty content for things to like, all right, cool. And now it's like, it's the cherry on top. It's the pictures. It's, all of those things. It's all the extras.
Well, and it's funny because, I worked in a clinic at the time after
Right?
I actually started my job the day after I landed back in Florida.
I love it.
It was crazy, and I was just kind of wobbling around the clinic for the first couple days, which is so
Oh,
funny
for
now
sure.
to look back at it. But so I knew the timeline of everything. So I'm like, okay, if her transfer is on this day, her beta should be this day, her
I
ultrasound
love it.
should be this day. So I'm like, Callie, feed me all the information. I want to know. And and Amy was open to sharing that with me, like the ultrasound
Yeah.
pictures. And it wasn't always easy. It wasn't an easy early pregnancy. It wasn't an easy pregnancy by any means for her. So I think also just that realistic aspect of, hey, you might think that it's gonna be a smooth journey. There's no guarantees, but getting those updates along the way and in real time, and being a part
Yeah.
of that, and it's just so special. It was so special to me and so important to me so that I could know how Amy was doing, because I felt like I had, and this might be silly, but I almost felt like I had an obligation to check in on her and be like, is she okay? How's her heart? Like, what is she going through right now? Because yeah, we
Mm,
got to this point and yay, it was successful. It was a successful cycle, but that's not where it ends.
right.
Her end goal is creating her perfect family, and it might not be how she envisioned, but creating this perfect family in the end. And so I wanted to know along the way. And so you
Mm-hmm.
might not get that with an unidentified cycle, but to have that openness and willing to just be just the open mind that she mentioned. It's just
Yeah. No, for
it's so
sure.
important. It makes things so much more special.
Well, and I think to your point, yes, the egg donation cycle ended. It was successful. But that journey just now we're on to like the second part of like that journey. And I love that, again, Rachel, that you were just wanting to celebrate that. And Amy, I loved that you wanted to have her along the way and that you were so, just forthcoming with like, yep, this is where we are. Like, and just, there was no thought to think otherwise.
No, to me, she's always been part of the journey from day one.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know if obligation is the right word, but I did feel like she is almost like owed an update. Like she deserves this. Like, she gave this part of her, and if she wants to know, she should have the right to know. And I love sharing it. And it's almost like, I wish there was a word for an extended family member, but that's kind of how I feel about Rachel. Like, it's kind of neat and very exciting in many ways, that like, there's, Esther's gonna have mommy and daddy and aunts and uncles, and then she has donor Rachel, and like she'll have siblings, and like it's this whole extra level of like what family or community is, which is really neat.
For sure. Well, and again, right, like going back to kind of what you said earlier, Rachel, like it takes a village, and we don't necessarily know what that village is going to look like, but oh my gosh, every village is so magical. And I mean, y'all's village it's beautiful. And I love that. I mean, I think you're right. The word obligate or like have to, like, that's just not the right word. Like, I feel like it was just, you both had this want and desire, and you were just both cheering each other on and supporting one another. And I loved that. I just love that you guys wanted and continue to want to just pour into each other, beyond like, now it's again, right? Like now you guys are two moms commiserating with sleep aggression and, all of that stuff. I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah. Well, I always, again, I really do just appreciate you guys sharing your story. And I bet I probably know the answer to this, but I always like to ask the question because, like we were saying earlier, Amy, my obsession with coffee, I know you have your emotional support Coca-Cola with you. What filled your cup today? Literally or figuratively, what has been the thing that has filled your cup today?
For me, I was able to take a nice hot shower, which was great.
Yes. We celebrate that.
And what filled my cup is I was running around trying to get ready this morning. Tim's outside shoveling snow, and I hear Esther in her room going, "Mommy, out!" And I was like, okay, mommy's coming to get you. Like it's those little moments too, like
yeah.
And it probably happens multiple times a day, but it's little moments like that where I'm still like, oh, that's me. I'm mom.
Yes.
Yay, there's especially when in this toddler phase where everything is so new and exciting, and she's absolutely 100% adorable. Like the soft, squishy mom things happen all the time, every day, and I just love them, and especially now with Edgar too. He's more alert and awake. He's 2 months old now, and he's starting to smile and interact more, and Esther's interacting with him more, and it's this compounding factor of just cuteness in it.
Oh, for sure. I feel like, especially, I don't know, there's something about whenever siblings like start actually like liking each other, there's like, I don't even know what happens to like my heart. Like I kind of lose it. And like it still happens. Yes. It still happens today. I'm like, wait, the 12-year-old's being nice to the 10-year-olds? Like what is happening? Oh my God, like instantaneous tears. I love that. What about you, Rachel?
Listening to her say that.
Oh, for sure.
Because I get to see it through email and pictures and everything like that, but just hearing her say that just did it for me.
Oh gosh, for sure. You're going to make me have salty coffee, you guys. No, I love that. I love it so much. Well, again, you guys, I really do appreciate you, just both of you, just being so vulnerable with your story. And again, just, I love that we get to celebrate this special connection that you guys have. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Me, You, and Who. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed our discussion today. As we wrap, we would like to remind you of some of the ways that you can stay connected with us and be part of the Me, You, and Who podcast community. Firstly, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode and can stay up to date with our latest content. But that's not all. We also have an exciting YouTube channel where we share some bonus content, behind the scenes glimpses, and video versions of our episodes. Head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button there as well. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when the new episodes go live. And for more exclusive updates, engaging discussions, and a chance to connect with fellow listeners. Be sure to follow us on our social media accounts. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Create a Happy Family. If you're interested in finding out more about creating a happy family, please visit us at www.createahappyfamily.com. Thank you again for being part of the Me, You, and Who community. Your support means the world to us. I can't wait for you to join us next time as we continue to share stories and journeys of creating happy families.